What's your favorite scary movie?
We have such sights to show you.
Monsters!
All you have left is my desire.
My name is Frankenstein!
Batman's gone mad!
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
See this? This is my boomstick!
I ate his liver with some fava beans last night. This ass.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
It's alive! It's alive!
Here's Johnny.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror.
Welcome to the debauchery.
What's up, all you horror movie loving fuckers? Welcome back to another episode of Fright Flick Fuck Marry Kill. And we have reached that part of the week. We've made it to fucking Friday, and now we all get to gather around. We get to run to the kitchen, make up our favorite beverage, and then come back here and we're about to talk some shit about a horror movie. Now, this week, I came across a brand new one on Tubi. I like to get on Tubi because sometimes I like to talk about movies that are free, that you don't have to, go to a theater or rent or any of that shit, And so this week I was on Tubi scrolling through and I came across this one. I also like the fact that here on this show, sometimes we like to bring attention to movies that are not well known or you haven't really heard of it, So this week, I think I came across this one yesterday. Yeah, yesterday when I watched it. This one is called Curse of the Sin Eater, 2024 film. Brand new right out of the gate, it's crazy because I say that because 2024, but when you think about it, 2024 is pretty much over with almost. We've reached the greatest time of the year. We've hit October. We got Halloween coming. Fall weather's moving in. We're breaking out hoodies and sweatpants and all that good shit. Best time of the year right now. I fucking love this time of the year. And so yeah, 2024 is almost over. But new film and a quick little IMDb on it before we start getting into stuff. A poor construction worker makes a deal with a dying business mogul, rich guy, to inherit billions. Billions, people. I said billions, not millions, billions. Only to discover that he has been cursed by the man's terrifying sins. Directed by Justin Denton, written by Adam Davis and Will Corona Pilgrim. So before we jump in here, though, we are going to take just a second. Most of the housekeeping shit I've started trying to save it to last, but right now we're going to handle a little bit right out of the gate. We've been talking for a good minute now, and me and John get on here and stuff about, our YouTube side of this because we have the audio and we also do a YouTube side. We've been talking for a minute now about, getting to that 100 subscribers on YouTube and how we're wanting to do a live show once we get there, something we've been talking about on the show and shit like that. Now, this little shit show here, we have made it over 100 subscribers on YouTube. Now, some of you may hear that and you think to yourself, that's just 100, whatever, fuck you. We like to appreciate the little things in life, people. We don't just, we appreciate shit like that. And the fact that, over 100 people have to subscribe to this shit show, we appreciate it. It does not go unnoticed. So there is going to be a live show. It will be our very first live YouTube. We're going to go live on YouTube, me and John, and we're just going to, I don't know where that show is going to go. I don't know. I don't know what we'll talk about. I don't know what will be said, but I do know that that bottle of Frank Sinatra Jack Daniels behind me right now, that baby hasn't been opened. That baby's still sealed. We popping the top on Mr. Frank Sinatra Jack Daniels that night. And we're just going to just fucking send it like we always do and see what happens. You know, the next day I may go from over 100 subscribers down to fucking 50. I don't know. We're going to see. That's fuck it. We just going to send it. So I just want to say I appreciate, you know, the faithful, the Fright Flick family. I appreciate it. I just want to say thank you for following along. If you have not subscribed, if you're listening to this on a podcast platform or wherever, get on over to YouTube, give us a subscribe and be a part of the fucked up family. And but yeah, that's fucking awesome. We appreciate it. The live show is going to happen. You know, recently John just brought in a newest member of the Fright Flick fucked up family, the new little baby. And so, you know, he's doing the whole, you got to do the whole daddy thing, you know, right now. So as soon as he gives me the green light and he's able to make some time to do it, we're going to schedule us a YouTube live. So be on the lookout for that, because it will not be, will it be about horror movies? I don't know. There's no telling where that show may go. That was just going to be one of those, just, you know, throw it against the wall, see if the shit sticks. I don't know. But we're going to have a good time no matter what. We're going to celebrate the little things. We don't take shit for granted around here, people. We like it. We appreciate you faithful fucking few that tune in on a regular basis and listen to us just talk fucking shit about whatever. And hold on, everybody grab your drinks. It's a little cheers to you all out there. To you all ride or die faithful motherfuckers that listen to this shit show on a regular basis. Cheers to you all. The gentleman Jack and myself say thank you. Thank you very much. Gentleman Jack. So good. And but yeah, you know, I'll touch on some housekeeping, other shit at the end of it. But we're going to jump right now. We're getting into this movie right now. Curse of the Sin Eater. I've already went over the little IMDb description bullshit. You can find all that. So we're going to, because I was curious, you know, when I seen that Curse of the Sin Eater, so I had to like Google, like, Sin Eater. What the fuck is that? I got this one website I use that's like an AI, artificial intelligence. Gonna take over the fucking world. Watch out for it. And I was kind of like curious. I'm like, what, kind of like, what is it? So this is, I want to read a little something on this, and this is strictly straight from the interweb about what a sin eater. A sin eater is a historical figure associated with a folk practice primarily found in parts of England and Wales, as well as in some regions of the United States. The role of a sin eater was to assume the sins of a deceased person, effectively allowing the deceased to enter the afterlife unburdened by their wrongdoings. This was often enacted through a ritualistic meal. That's a pretty big word for us here on this show. Ritualistic. That's almost like more than like two syllables when you clap that shit out. That's a lot for us to tackle that type of shit on here. Hey, we don't usually go that hard into paint on here, but historical context on this ancient beliefs. The concept of sin eating can be traced back to ancient beliefs about sin and the afterlife. It is rooted in the idea of vicarious atonement, where one person's sins are transferred to another. Basically, We're gonna take all them fancy words. We're gonna take all that fancy internet shit, peel all that back. We're gonna get this shit down to Barney style, the way we do it here. Basically, a little ritual, and you're about to die, and you know you done lived a fucked up life. You know hell is your destination, but you don't want that. You want to go in, hands clean, shake it off type shit, Taylor Swift, shake it off. And you want to hand that shit down to somebody else. Somebody else is going to take up all the shit you did. So they had this little ritual, mainly like back in England, old school. This is like way, 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 way back. And there would be like this like rich family. And you the rich guy, you're about to die. They know, the family knows you lived a fucked up life. They know. So what they do is they go out into the village, find them a person in need, poor folk who's in need. They basically find them, they make a deal with them, like saying, hey, we're going to give you this money. You're going to be well off. This is all yours. But what you have to do is you have to do this certain thing. And after that, you're living the good life. You're on cloud nine. You're rolling with the big dogs now. All you got to do is this one thing. And then that process is in their beliefs is it takes this one thing, this one thing, this little peasant in need of, he does this one thing, and all of the sins of their rich family member who has died are now gone. Just clear, free and clear. Punch this ticket straight through and, right over hill into the good life. And this person takes up all of it. And that's kind of where this movie goes. And we're gonna spoil the shit out of it, people. That's what we do here. We spoil it. And then at the end of it all, I'm gonna let you know if I'd rather fuck it, marry it, or kill it. But that's kind of the main idea about this thing. A sin eater. And we're kind of going to go through the movie and talk about how it goes. And I will say this, when it starts off, it kind of gets your attention right out of the gate. One thing I really liked, I need a movie to, I will watch anything from beginning to end, no matter how much of a fucking train wreck it is. I'm going to make it to the end. I have to. It's this thing inside of me. Like I could be sitting the whole time cussing the movie out, hating it, but damn it, I got to get to the end of it. And so, yeah, anything I'll watch. Now, this one gets my attention right out of the gate. We start off, we got this kid. I say he's a kid. I don't fucking know. But he's like in the kitchen. He's making this like nasty looking soup. I say nasty looking soup, but, I feel like there's a difference in like rich people soup and poor folk soup. It just looks different. I don't know. This one looked like poor folk soup when he's making it. Like, he's trying to make this shit and it just looks nasty. It's not, I don't know. I'm a big soup guy. I love soup. I like the fact this is time of the year. We're going to get some, vegetable soup. I like that. I love that shit. Also this time of the year, we get some good chili, some good, and we're not talking about the chili you throw on a hot dog type. That's a difference. Maybe it's a Southern thing. I don't know. But I just remember growing up, and you get you some good wintertime hits. You get some good chili. Get your little cornbread. Oh, if y'all don't know about cornbread, y'all missing the fuck out. I'm looking forward to it. Me and the wife, we're going to be cooking up some damn chili and some damn cornbread. Get you an iron skillet. Make you some cornbread, some iron skillet cornbread. Good Lord. Man, fucking love this time of year, people. But where the fuck was I? Got distracted there by the cornbread and the chili. We're back on track now. Everybody grab your drink, take your little sip. Oh, that's good stuff, gentlemen. Jack break, thank you. But old boy's in there making up some damn poor folk soup. And you can tell he's like, got that little dinner tray. You know how you see it. They're gonna bring somebody a little dinner tray. He's got the little tray, a little bowl of soup, got mama's got some pills on it. And I'm like, okay, you see this kind of old lady sitting there. I'm like, okay, maybe this dude's taking care of his mama, which he is. He's like they're taking care of his mama. He's looked like he's in, late teens, early 20s, maybe. He's a young kid. And he's coming up in there. Mom has checked out. Mom is 60 shades of batshit fucking crazy, is what she comes across as. Because when he turns around, she's kind of standing up out of her little chair, and she's like praying and shit, doing all this like forgive me type shit. And I'm just like, this mom has got some serious baggage because you could tell, like it showed a little close up her face, like she's gone, man. And she turns around, and old boy's trying to talk to her. The old boy's name is Rick. Let me scroll back. I got a few notes on this. Some of the cast in this. Rick Malone is our main character. Rick Malone played by Carter Shimp, not Shrimp. Shimp, Shimp. Carter Shimp plays our boy Rick Malone. And so he basically turns around. These moms standing there. Mom's is like praying, sweaty looking, the old mom nightgown type shit, doing little prayers. She's got her little beads. I forget what the fuck. I don't know. It just went blank of what the fuck they call them. Them little old Hail Mary beads around her hand. And she's talking. And she basically turns around and she's all like, oh, forgive me. I'm sorry. Puts the gun right in her fucking mouth, pulls the trigger. You see the shit hit the ceiling. Mama done blew the back of her fucking head out. Boom, mom's gone. And then we jump forward. We give us a little, I can't remember if it's like 3 months or 6 months. Then we jump forward a little bit. We got our boy Rick. Wakes up. Gets ready on his way to work. Now, Rick lives in like the city. Looks like New York City, boss. New York City is what it looks like. Maybe New York. But he's on his way to work. In New York, nobody fucking drives, it seems like. They all either cabs, subway, train, I don't know, buses. So he's like jumping on all of them to get there. And a couple times it shows like the bus ride by, and I'm like, is he in a hurry? Is he late? If he is late, he doesn't seem to be that much of in a hurry. And so when he finally gets there, and he shows up at this like fucking mansion, this fucking massive ass house, just oozes rich folk. And he kind of shows up to the dude, and he's talking to the main guy. And he shows up, and the guy's kind of like, oh, I've already replaced you type shit, and the old boy Rick's kind of like, come on, man, I really need this. Like, you tell Rick's struggling. Rick is in need. He's having a hard time. And the little dude running the little work crew, he's kind of like, nah, dude, we're good. I already got you. I already got my guy here. We're doing it. We don't need you. But then somebody comes into the frame. The person that comes in, his name's Jeremy. You don't really know it right out of the gate because Jeremy makes a comment like, hey, if we gonna need some help, and that's what kind of, he like covers his ass so he can stay there and keep working. You come to find out that Jeremy and Rick have known each other basically their whole lives, good friends. So this kid Jeremy comes out like, hey, we're gonna need some help to get this done. And so like, okay, you can stay. So we got our dude Rick is out there, he's working now. He got him a little wheelbarrow. They're building something. You can tell they're building something on this little rich person's property. And he's rolling a wheelbarrow. Gets over to a truck, and they got this thing laid out with like dumping this dirt and shit. And he rolls over and he kind of stumbles. And in this stumble, he apparently cuts himself a little bit. And then I'm just like, you know what, Rick? You fucking suck. First off, you're late. Couldn't even get to work on time. Now you're sitting here and you can't even fucking roll a wheelbarrow. and dump some dirt out of it. How simple is your job, Rick, that you can't fucking roll a wheelbarrow and dump the dirt? He gets over to the truck, stumbles, the wheelbarrow kind of hits him in the side, and it gives him a little cut on the side. And you see a little blood spot in his shirt and shit. And Rick's kind of like, oh God, like, dude, it's a fucking, you fucking suck, Rick. That's Gentleman Jack Break. Now, if you're listening to this on a podcast platform and there comes a moment there's like a pause where I'm not saying nothing, 99.9% of the time, that's a Gentleman Jack Break. And at that moment, feel free to reach over, grab your beverage, and have a little break with us. And then we're going to keep on going. Now, our boy Rick, when he gets his little boo-boo on his fucking side, you see somebody like looks like that works there. Somebody like the help lady comes out. And he's like, hey, do you have like a first aid kit? And she just kind of like wants to just kind of blow him off because you're a fucking peasant rolling a wheelbarrow, dude. Like, what the fuck are you gonna come up in our mansion for? Bring your peasantness up in this mansion? Not happening. Well, he talks to her and he's kind of like, look, I really need this job. If you could just help me out. So she's like, she's a nice lady, takes him up into the mansion and, gets him to a little bathroom. And it's so fucking fancy because she comes out carrying them little trays, man. It's like you just couldn't just come in there and hand old boy a fucking Band-Aid like growing up when we did. You fall down, scrape some shit up. Mom go grab some of that. I don't know what it was, but that shit burned like the Dickens. I don't know what it was. I can't remember if it was. I can't remember the name of it. You fall down, scraping near some shit. Mom had this one little jar of something that was like the devil's spit. And as soon as she dabbed it on that little spot where the cut was, supposed like, disinfect it, kill it, make it be okay. But that shit fucking burned the devil's spit. And so you're thinking, just a fucking peasant rolling the wheelbarrow. You come in there and toss him a fucking Band-Aid, tell him to damn tape his shit up and get the fuck out of the house. That's what, but no, they come in there, nice little metal tray. They got all these little fucking little medicine shit on it for him, like bandages a little punk ass up, and then he gets done. And she kind of tells him one of the helpers come out and needs the lady, and she's like, "Hey, you know your way out." And so she kind of goes off with the girl. But our dude Rick gets all bandaged up, and Rick goes out into the hallway. And as soon as he walks out into the hallway, he's going to do the one thing that us fucking white folk like to do. We like to be fucking nosy in horror movies. Always nosy. And I knew he was. As soon as he walked in the hallway, I said, this dumb fuck is not going to go out the door and get back to his wheelbarrowing. He's going to be nosy, and that's what he does. He starts walking around. He gets to a room, peeks in a room, looks in the crack of the door, and he sees like a dresser. And on this dresser is a little stack of money with a little money clip on it. The rich folk had the cash and a little money clip holding the cash. And so he looks in there and he sees it. I'm like, as soon as he sees that money, I was like, oh, this dumb fucker's going to go in there and he's going to take that money. He opens up the door, goes in there, does exactly what I said he was going to do. And apparently, because you could tell it looks like $100 bills, but apparently it wasn't all 100. Apparently this dude knew how to arrange his money where it goes, big bills down to small bills. I would flip-flop it, though, if I was this old dude. I would maybe put my 5s and 10s on the outside and have my 100s on the inside. That way when somebody sees my money clip, they just see a $5 bill. Maybe they're not so, enticed to come in there and steal my shit. But he goes in there, and you tell he takes the money clip off, and he kind of flips through it and grabs a little cash out of it, puts the money clip down, goes to turn to walk out. When he goes to turn to walk out, there's an old man sitting in there at the table. The old man kind of catches him off guard and starts talking to him. And I'm like, oh, dude, you're fucking busted. The old man who owns this fucking billionaire property is sitting there. And I don't know if he's never stole anything in his life, because he looks like somebody that has stolen some shit in his life. But I don't know if he has. You would think when you come into a room, you're about to steal some shit. Maybe you give the room a little glance, a little passerby, a little just round the room real quick to see if anything. He don't do that. He goes straight in there, money clip, bam. Then you got dude sitting over there fucking sees him. And what was this fucker's name? Let me hold on. Let me tell you. Uh, Mr. Drayton. Mr. Drayton is the old man's name. So in this, while I'm talking about this, if I say the old man, I'm talking about Mr. Drayton. Mr. Drayton, who is played by Larry Yando, Yando. So old man sitting there at his table, basically calls old boy out. Boy's kind of like Rick trying to damn backpedal now. He's trying to be like, you caught, dude. And so while he's talking to the old man, our girl Anton. Anton is the lady who we met outside. Antoinette is her name. He calls her Anton in this movie, played by Elizabeth Laidlaw, Laidlaw. And I really like her in this movie. She's really good. I really like her. And she walks in and she's kind of like, like, what are you doing in here? You were supposed to get your little peasant ass out the front door and get back to wheelbarrowing. And so he basically is like trying to apologize. He pulls out the money. Dude has like a $20 bill. Didn't even take none of the big bills. He took the little shit. Well, then as he is trying to explain shit to the old lady, to Anton, the old dude, Mr., the old man, he's like, tells him to come over there and sit down. And the old man even kind of asked him. He was like kind of like, why'd you take a 20? Why didn't you just take the whole fucking stack? And then Rick's kind of like, well, I got robbed on the way here this morning, and I just needed enough money to get back to my fucking apartment. And so the old man's kind of cool. Old man's like, I'm not gonna fire you. Then he takes the money clip. He puts his little 20 back in it, the whole full money clip, the same money clip that was in the room when he walked in. He slides it across the table, basically tells Rick, he's like, here, man, just take it. Calling it in advance. The old man was just like, hey, man, take the whole thing. The old man looking out for him. It's in advance. You're going to get paid at the end of the week, whatever. So Rick takes the money. And then we jump. Let's just say it's that evening after that day of work, back at the apartment. Then you realize that the dude who stepped in when he first got there late was his buddy, Jeremy. And so they're both sitting there, Rick and Jeremy. They both work at this site. Jeremy, it's his apartment. He's being cool and letting Rick stay there because Rick's on some hard times. And so while they're sitting there, Rick and Jeremy are talking. Jeremy's doing like, you've been around these little fucking rich ass area this whole time. And these, the conversations that people had, like, hey man, like, what would you do with that much money? Like, what would you do if you were in that guy's shoes? What would you do? And we've all had these conversations. People, don't act like you haven't. You've all sat around and wondered, you see, win the lottery or just being, filthy fucking rich. And you have these thoughts like, what would you do? And they're having this conversation. And here's where I really start disliking Rick, because he's talking to Jeremy, and then Jeremy kind of asks him, he's like, kind of like, what would you do? And then Jeremy makes comment, he's like, oh, I would go to dinner. I would go to one of these dinners where it costs like $500 a plate. And he makes comments like there's like wines and shit out there that we don't even fucking know the names of, this fucking ridiculous prices on them and shit. And then he says, I would take Tanya out for a night. Tanya is his ex-girlfriend. Ex people. Ex. In his mind, in this little pretend moment, you're a billionaire. And in your little simple mind, I get it. The whole going to have a $500 plate, got it. But he's kind of like, I would take Tanya out for a night. Like, you fucking pussy. You are so caught up on this bitch, Tanya. Like, I would take Tanya out for a night. Fuck hey, that's why I said, that's why I'm not rich right now, people. I know. That's why the good Lord said you cannot be rich, because he knows the type of asshole I would be if I was rich. To where I would have, I don't have many friends out there. I'm not a out in public kind of guy. I'm kind of to myself. Me, my wife, the girls, that's it pretty much. I'm not a out and about type. So when I say, I couldn't say like the whole friends thing, but they would, there's no fucking way, dude. She's your ex. And then he's kind of like, well, I'll take Tanya out for a night. And even Jeremy tried to talk some shit to him. Kind of like, really? Like, all the money in the world, limitless money. And you're talking about going out to dinner. Oh, no. I'd be on the island somewhere with my very own, like, Jimmy Buffett impersonator. Just sits around and plays Jimmy Buffett shit all day long while I fucking chill out on my island somewhere. Now, so I'm just like, and though they have this little conversation, and I'm like, I didn't like, in that moment, I'm not liking Rick. Well, then next day, they're back at the work site. They're building this little fucking whatever they're building. You don't really know. And they're talking. And there's like, kind of like, what do you think this thing's going to be? When do you think he's building? And little Rick, he's kind of like, maybe I heard it might be a shed. And then Jeremy's kind of like, he's a fucking billionaire. Like, what the hell is he building a shed? And next thing you know, that lady Anton comes out, and she tells Rick that old man wants to see him in the house. Rick goes into the house. Now we're sitting at this fucking massive ass table. Old man's having his fucking lunch. Rick's sitting at the end of it. Old man at the end having his lunch. Anton standing next to him, and he starts talking to Rick, and he's talking to him and asking, like, he asked him what his name was and shit like that. And the old man basically is going to come out and tell him. There's a point where he asked the boy if he's religious. He asked Rick if he's religious. Rick says, I used to be. And I feel sure Rick fell off the religious thing back when his mother painted the ceiling with the brains from the back of her head when she shot herself. And so it's kind of like, well, I used to be. And even the old man's kind of like, well, I used to be too. But I found this kind of new type, faith in religion type shit. And they're sitting there talking. And then out of the blue, they don't prepare you for what's coming. In this bad boy, in this moment, the dude just comes right out, like straightforward, just point blank. And I'm watching the movie, and even at this moment, I was like, holy shit, like, where the fuck did that come from? And he basically just comes out. The old man's like, okay, now let's get down to business. He basically tells Rick that, hey, he tells Rick leading up to it, like, hey, you can tell I'm not in good health. I'm on my way out. I'm about to check out. I've accepted it. I'm okay with it. It's time for me to move on. But he tells Rick, he's like, I want you, Rick, to eat a meal off of my dead body. And when you do, you get everything. You get everything that the old man has is his. You eat a meal off of my dead body, and then it's all yours. The estate, the money, everything. It's Rick. Little old needy Rick. Little old wheelbarrowing Rick. Little old Rick who's sleeping on his buddy's extra room with a mattress on the floor. That Rick. It would all be his if he's willing to eat a meal off of the carcass of the old man. It's all his. Rick's kind of like, are you joking? Like, are you what are you talking about? And and then Rick even kind of asked him, he's like, well, like, why me? And even the old man, the old rich man says, well, I've never given to anyone in need. And he basically tells Rick, I can tell you are in need. And as I'm watching this, I'm going, shit. I don't know what the fuck he's pausing for. I'd have been doing whatever, however many courses of meals they wanted me to eat off old boy's body. I'd have been for it. I'd have been like, dating time. Do you have this like, is like a planned death? Like, you know when this is going to happen? Do I need to start, preparing myself, start practicing for whatever meal I have to eat off this dead body? You know how like them hot dog eaters that eat the hot dog contest. Do I need to be home practicing? Like, how much food are we talking here? Do I need to start practicing for when you kick the bucket and I show up and I fucking feast? And then I get all your fucking money. Like, sign me up, old man, sign me up. And but then after he tells me that, it just kind of cuts away. But then we're at a little party that's at the house of Jeremy's apartment or whatever, the one that Rick is crashing in. And they're all there, little party going on. And up to this point right now, people, I'm hating Rick. Rick just kind of annoyed me. And then we at the party that night. Well, then Rick's gonna bump into his ex-girlfriend, the Tanya girl that he says, "Oh, I just want to take her out for dinner." No, that Tanya, billionaire. I just want to take her out for dinner. You fucking loser. But Tanya's there. Tanya walks up. Rick starts trying to talk to her, and they both talk. And it's fucking right now. I'm getting annoyed with Rick because he's like catering to this chick, kind of like just the way he's talking to her. And I'm just like, man, you fucking loser. But and then while he's talking to her, Jeremy, the buddy who's letting him stay there, comes up. But then this is where you flip it and you fucking hate Jeremy because Jeremy's gonna be like, oh, did he's telling Tanya, he's like, oh, did Rick tell you about the job I got him working with us? And he's kind of like rubbing in his face that he don't have like you had to help him get a job. And apparently Jeremy was like, did a little time in the military. But at some point you find out that, they make comments like, oh, hey, he's kind of different now. He was an old soldier. And you can look at Jeremy and tell, I've been in the military, people, for almost 20 years. You could pick them out a mile away, them little fuckers that went in and did like a little year or two, couldn't hack it, come on back home, whatever. And so they kind of, he still gets the credit of like, well, I was in the military, whatever. Jeremy just puts his vibe off, comes up real cocky, arrogant, makes a little crack at my dude Rick. And this is the point where you start kind of liking Rick a little bit now. I didn't like him. Now that Jeremy's kind of showed his fucking asshole self, now you kind of like, okay, Rick, I'm okay with you. You okay, Rick? Jeremy comes up, makes little comments at him. And he even makes a comment when he comes up there. He's like, yeah, it's good to have Rick around. It's always good if you need a laugh. And he's like, tell her about the job I got you, and I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? And you can tell that Jeremy is almost kind of like trying to flirt with Tanya a little bit because he tries to makes a comment to her like, let me get you a drink. But then Tanya, kind of cool. Because she's like, no. She looks at Rick and she goes, don't you owe me a drink? It's her way of saying, fuck you, Jeremy. I'm talking to Rick right now. Take your little bitch ass home. Now. And so when she looks at Jeremy and says that, Rick keeps on, Jeremy, I mean, the roommate keeps on going. He was just like, oh, well, he's actually broke right now. And, and I'm just like, dude, right then in that moment, I'm like, you know what? If I'm Rick, I am driving my ass back to the old man's house. And I'm like, hey, dude, I will, hey, let's do it. I will eat a meal off your dead ass fucking carcass and I would get my fucking billions and then I would fuck Jeremy up. That's why I'm just like mean like that, I guess, but I would be just rubbing it in Jeremy's fucking face every day. That's why, once again, people, I said that's why Jay's not rich. Somebody higher knew that Jay would be an asshole if Jay was billionaire rich, because I probably would be. Now, gentleman Jack break. Thank you. So this whole night kind of goes down, and there's a part where him and Jeremy and Rick have like a little falling out there in the apartment. And apparently Jeremy's like a little drug dealer, like trying to push some product. He's sitting around at one point cleaning his little pistol, thinks he's a fucking badass type shit, so he's into that type of shit. And so that night they have a little, like, they butt heads, shit goes down, things are said. And then the next morning we got our boy Rick on the phone begging for like jobs. He's like calling people up like, hey man, just let me come in. I'll just work a few hours. Because he's staying with Jeremy, and Jeremy makes it known, like, hey man, first of the month's coming around. Like, where'd your dues? Which is nothing wrong with that. If you're crashing in somebody's fucking place and you're they're helping you out, at least you could do is have your fucking payment when it's time to pay it. So I get that part. And so that morning, Rick on the phone calling, hey man, like, let me just get something. They're all like, dude, no, we ain't got nothing. So he's all sitting there bummed out. Jeremy's sitting there talking to him. And then Jeremy even tells him, he's like, hey man, I'll let you start helping me move my shit. I'm not gonna be able to pay a lot because it's my money involved, but it'll help. Jeremy's kind of like, no, I don't want that. Next thing you know, doorbell goes off, knock on the door or whatever. Somebody's at the door. Dude walks in. Bald guy, bearded up guy kind of comes in. You tell he's like, almost like a bouncer type looking dude, comes up asking for Rick, hands him an envelope. Rick opens the envelope. Then the dude says, it's been requested that you come this evening, that you come to the house. Here is what you're going to wear. Dude hands him a suit and he goes, I'll be out in the car waiting. Next thing you know, Jeremy's kind of like, what's going on? Next thing you know, here comes Rick walking out of the little apartment, dressed like a little, Wish version of a John Wick, little black suit, black tie, all that good shit, comes walking out. Fucking Rolls Royce. I think it was a Rolls Royce sitting there at the damn curb. The driver's sitting there. He's calling fucking Rick sir and all this shit. Opens up the door for him. Nice ass fucking car. Rick hops inside. Jeremy's standing on the porch wondering, like, what the fuck is going on? Next thing you know, boom, they're off. The old man has died. Because on the way, Rick even asked the driver, like, kind of like, how they died. No, dude, the driver's kind of like, oh, I can't really say, just enjoy the ride, sir. They get to the house. Soon as he walks into this fucking big ass mansion, we got our girl Anton standing there at a little, I don't know what the fuck it was, but she's got like a contract on there. Like, this thing's ready to go. Like, hey, here is a contract. You guys sign this. This is the thing. You come in here, the dude is dead. You're going to eat a meal off of his dead body, and then all of this is yours. Here's the contract. You sign it. And she tells him, you got to eat everything, every crumb off of his body, and this is all yours. You can't speak of it. This is like a little, what they call those things in movie or that legal shit, something like NDAs or whatever the fuck it is. You can't talk about shit. Basically, telling them if you talk about it, you don't get nothing. It all just goes away. So I'm just sitting there like, you're talking too long. Give me the fucking pen, lady. Like, just where the fuck do I sign? And so he goes in there, and the whole thing is set up real romantic, like real nice, real high class billionaire type shit. He goes into a room. It looks like the dining hall, big long table, candles are lit everywhere, setting the fucking mood. Rick, you are a meal away from billionaire status. He goes in there, candles lit. You see the body. You see the old man laying on the table. The old man's not all like decayed and shit. He just died that morning. So he's on the table. They got like a little cloth over his little cock area. You know, you're not seeing dick and balls. You know, that's covered up. His face is there. You see it. But then when they all come in there, she takes a little thing, covers his face up. So all you're really seeing is like from the knee down in the midsection, neck to the belly there. That's all it is, just like the chest area. And I'm just like, oh shit, this ain't bad at all. Like, it's not like they brought you in there to a fucking month old, you know, just fucked up corpse sitting there full of maggots and shit. The dude is fresh, just passed away on the table, face is covered, cock and balls is covered. And so I'm kind of like, well, when they say you got to eat a meal off of him, how's that going to go? I don't really know. But then they come in there, it's on a fucking plate, people. She brings a plate, sets it on the dude's chest. Old man dead on the table, sets the plate on his chest. And I'm just sitting there like, boy, please. I'm not eating it off of him. You going to give me a plate of food and I just got to eat? And then I am billionaire. And so, and you can't really tell what the food is, but the first little plate that comes out, you know, I figured it's not going to be like a little 1-course meal. These are high class billionaire folks. They do courses in meals, you know, several courses. So I'm saying, okay, there are going to be some different courses that come out. First plate on the man's chest, it looks like some type of bread. It almost looks like a little fucking fancy ass grilled cheese looking thing. My mom used to cook grilled cheese. She just put some bread on a pan, one piece of bread on the pan, slap a piece of cheese on it, slide that baby in the oven, cheese melt on top of that bread, pull it out, we eat it. That shit was good, folks. That shit was good. And that's kind of what it looked like. He's sitting there eating it. He gets that done. And you could tell on the plate, a few little things on the plate still. He gets done with that. She takes the plate, sets another plate on the old man's chest. Now, the first one was just like a little piece of bread with some cheese or something on it. This one looked a little more not so nice. You know, at this point, I realized, okay, you're going to have to, you know, pull up your big boy britches to eat some shit like this, because it almost looked like some type of meatloaf / dog food was mixed together, and it's sitting on the plate. There's no fork, there's no knife, there's no spoon. We're handing it, baby. We're just using fingers. And there's a little drink sitting there, and he's having to like finger this food, eat it, and you can tell, like, I don't know if maybe it doesn't taste good. Maybe it's the idea of it coming off some dead man's body, because in this moment, even though the dude just died like earlier, you can hear like a little fly buzzing around. And people, I fucking hate flies. Like, I hate them. And you can hear these kind of flies buzzing. Maybe it's the idea of these flies buzzing around and shit. And it's making him kind of gag, and he's trying to fight this food down. He has to finish everything to be a billionaire. Rick shows up with his big boy britches, because Rick's going to fight fucking through it. Billionaire status. Everything. He's fighting through it. Plate after plate after plate. Now, when these plates get picked up, there's still some things on the plate, because some of the food's kind of slimy looking, just kind of ugh. But when they're taking that plate, you see them off to the side, raking that plate clean. They got that spoon just raking all that shit off of it into one bowl. You know, we've all been to the bar and been out to the clubs where you got them little mats on the bar where they make the drinks, and then all that leftover shit's on there, and they take all that shit and they pour it into like a fucking glass, you know, somebody can try to drink it. That's what it was like with the leftover food. They're raking all the leftovers on these plates into one bowl. So when they get done with the plates are clean, plates are done, or do Rick sitting there, you see the chest of the old man. They come over, they take that bowl with all that leftover shit from every single plate and dump it on his chest. And Anton looks at him and she's like, every crumb, you got to eat it all. So then he's sitting there and he's grabbing this mushy ass shit up and he's throwing it in his mouth. And you can tell, watching it, your own fucking gag reflex wants to go off. Because I'm one of those, I can't do like gummy stuff, like regular, like I can eat like Jello pudding, but like jiggly Jello, like jiggly, I can't do it. Like the texture of it will literally make me gag. Can't eat like Jello-y type shit, gummy worms, gummy, anything gummy that texture, I will literally start gagging. Can't do it. And so as he's picking this mushy mess up in his hand, and you see him shove it in his mouth, and you just, that's, oh God, but hey, Rick got his big boy britches on because we are becoming a billionaire tonight. And so I'm just like, dude's fighting through it, gets it all down. He's literally having to scrape it off his chest because this is not on a plate. This last little bit is on his chest. He's like literally rubbing his hand across his dead body, and you hear the flies, and he's shoving it in his mouth, and he's getting it down. Big boy britches, Rick. Gets done, looks up. They come in there with once again, some little fancy trays like the rich folk carry. She comes in there with a tray that just has a napkin on it. Poor folk, roll up with hand you a paper towel, rip it off, hand it to you. Little silver tray, a little napkin on it, comes up, hands you a napkin. He looks up at the lady. Lady's like, okay. He stands up. Then she tells him, she goes, there is something that the old man wanted him to read. And it's on this little card where the contract is. He picks this card up. And I don't remember the exact wording of it. But when he reads it, it's almost kind of his way of saying, like, I forget. I wish I could remember exactly. I should have wrote it down. I don't even think I put it in my notes, whatever. But it's basically his way of saying, like, when Rick reads it, it's like him saying it to the old man, like, for your peace, I am going to take on all your bad shit and basically give my own soul up for you. Basically saying the sin eater. He's going to eat and take all of the sins of that old man. He's going to take them onto himself. And then the old man's going to pass on scot-free. Hands clean like he never done nothing wrong. And so he kind of reads it, but it doesn't really, he's so fucked up. It's just like, he's ate so much, you could tell in this moment, he's just kind of out of it. And he kind of reads it. And next thing you know, it's like he's about to pass out because he kind of walks off, goes into the bathroom like he wants to puke. And next thing you know, he heads to the bedroom and he just kind of knocks out. Just out. And then when and you can tell because at this point they show you this kind of like almost like he's underwater drowning and these people are standing over him. And then he kind of wakes up like it was just a dream or whatever. And he wakes up next morning and he gets out of the bed, walks over there. Just like earlier, when he went into that room and there was a money clip full of money, of cash on the dresser. He walks up to a dresser hanging right there. Nice suit hanging right there on the dresser, watching shit. Stack of money with a money clip on it. Picks the money clip up. His initials are now on that money clip. His money, billionaire status. And he kind of comes downstairs. He's walking downstairs, kind of looking around. And I'm like, I don't know why Rick is he's just not. I wanted Rick to be a little more energetic. I think I would have been. And so he comes downstairs. He's kind of like, looking around, and finally Anton, she comes out and she's like talking to him and kind of like showing him around, and he's just still acting like he's trying to adjust to it. And maybe I don't know. It would be. I would think I would have came down them stairs like sliding down the fucking railing. Like I'd have been like, with yeah, I'd have been showing my ass. I'd have come down them. I'd have slid down the railing in just this happy billionaire mood. And but yeah, he comes down, he bumps in Anton, she shows him around, and at one point she basically makes a comment like, "Can I go get my stuff?" And she's like, "We can send somebody to get it for you." And he's kind of like, "Well, no, can I just drive and go get it myself?" And she basically tells him that you will learn that rich people do not drive. You have a dude out there that his only job is to open and close the fucking door for you on the car and drive you to wherever the fuck you want. And I'm just like, holy shit. And then she basically she hands him his own black card, no limit. Tells him, go out, buy some things. Dude, he's worried about going to his fucking old ass apartment to get his last little bit of belongings. No, Rick. She just handed you a black card. I don't give a fuck about my little ragged ass shit sitting back at that apartment. No. But then he goes back to the apartment to get his stuff. Jeremy's there. And he's kind of talking to him. Jeremy's not really questioning like what all went down. And apparently at some point, Rick had told him that he maybe had something in the works. But now to Jeremy, you got to be thinking, dude, like this dude just got picked up like the night before by this dude, suit and tie, Rolls Royce, rolls out with him. Next morning, dude comes back into the house to gather up his shit because Rick basically tells him, well, they gave me like this little small place to stay. And at one point, he tries to pay Jeremy back for helping him out, pulls out a money clip full of money. And Jeremy's kind of like, nah, man, I'm good. You just keep it. Jeremy's kind of like, being cool with him. But at the same time, if you're Jeremy, you got to be thinking, I know where my mind would go. My mind would go like to a point of like, how much dick are you sucking right now? Like, is there like some, like, did they fly you to fucking Epstein Island somewhere to where you're just, are they taking you over to the Diddy parties? Are you baby oiling it up for this type of money? And he just kind of like he pulls the money out and dude's like, nope. And then they do this little hug. And this is hug that was super awkward and too long. I didn't like the hug. Like, because Jeremy's kind of like, let's go out and have a drink sometime. And Rick's acting all fucking, I don't know. Rick's just acting too odd to me. For somebody that is literally just woke up a billionaire. And, Jeremy's kind of like, nah, it's all cool. I know you got to get settled. Then they do this hug. I didn't like the hug. The hug was too long. The hug had some like feelings behind it hug. And I get it. You find out that they've been friends for a long time. But this hug he gives him, they show it up close. They hug. And it's like, there was feelings in this hug. It was awkward. It didn't fit. I didn't like it. Like, why is this hug lasting so long? I'm not a hugger like that. Me and my brothers, we're brothers. And the hugging thing, I just don't, this hug was just awkward. It was like there's a part of me in that moment that thought, okay, Jeremy secretly, I was waiting for that twist. Like Jeremy secretly, deep down, has some feelings for Rick. Because this hug, man, the way they showed it, it was like Jeremy liked it. It was like that hug, and then this little exhale sound you make, like, this little, like, it was awkward. I didn't like it. But hug happens. Our dude kind of goes on about his business. Walks out. Next thing you know, he bumps in. As he walks out of that apartment, guess who comes walking by? Little Tanya comes walking by. Little ex-girlfriend. And then you see Rick trying to play this like she sees the car. She's trying to figure out what's going on. And Rick's trying to play this whole like this fucking, oh, I'm the old Rick now. I'm really good right now. I'm this. And he's trying to like play this like, I don't know, like he's trying to show off or like he's a little fucking player. So I don't know. I just didn't like the way he was acting. And even her, she didn't pick up on it. She was just kind of like, no. And he's like, come on, let's just go. And he's trying to, and she's just like, no, I got to go meet with Jeremy because her and Jeremy were good friends. And I'm sitting there laughing because, she didn't want your little punk ass when you was broke as fuck. And now here you are thinking, because now you're a fucking billionaire and you think you fucking matter. Like, she still shot your ass down. And maybe you just need to accept that Tanya's not the one. And you're a billionaire now, Rick. Go out there and find you some old girl that will let you snort some cocaine out the crack of her ass and go on and live and do your thing, man. But he kind of goes on about his business. Now, my favorite part of this movie is it comes here because, it goes back to that old saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Rick goes into like a bar. Not like a bar, this is a nicer type joint, a little nice, kind of nice. He goes in there, he's trying to talk to the bartender. Bartender's like, what do you want? He's like, let me get like maybe like a whiskey. He's like, but what do you have that's like not for sale? Like his way of asking is like, I see what you got on your top shelf and your bottom shelf, but where's that shit that's not sitting out here that you sell? Where's that stuff at? And the guy makes a comment and he tells him, I forget the name of it. I'm not real, I don't I think it was called like a McAllen's or McAllister. I don't know. But he basically tells Rick, he's like, well, I have this. And then when Rick says, how much is that? And then the bartender goes, if you have to ask, you really can't afford it. But then while he's doing this, there's this little punk ass older dude sitting next to him. And the old dude kind of looks at him. He's like, oh, I know something that you'd like. And then Rick tries to be cool. Rick's kind of like, well, I do like recommendations. So he looks at the bartender, gives the bartender a nod. The bartender's in on it. And then he kind of he pulls out a fucking plain old canned, just basic beer, sets it on the bar for Rick. And then he reaches down, grabs the bottom shelf liquor, not the medium shelf, not the top left, the bottom shit. Pours him a little shot glass and sets it in front of him. So he's got just a plain old can of beer and a cheap ass shot of some whiskey or whatever. And then the older gentleman next to him sitting there laughing at him. But then my dude Rick basically looks at the bartender and he says, hey, you know what? Let me get 2 bottles of that McAllen's or whatever it was. Let me get 2 bottles. Let me get one for me and one for my friend. And he points to that old man, the older gentleman. He wasn't old, older gentleman sitting next to him that was trying to be a fucking smart ass. He said, let me get 2 bottles, one for me, one for my friend. And then the bartender kind of looks at him and the old dude, and then dude pulls out his fucking black card. And it was so cool because like a metal black card. As soon as it hits the bar, you kind of hear it kind of like a little tink. And he slides it to the fucking bartender. And then the bartender instantly has changed his tune. He's like, yes, sir, I'll get that for you. Now, my little dude Rick, who you just trying to be a fucking smartass with, hand him a beer and a cheap ass shot. Now he's a sir to you. And then Rick takes the beer, he takes the shot, shoots the shot, pops the beer, chugs the beer, gives the older gentleman next to him like a little, hey man, I appreciate it. Older gentleman just gets up and fucking leaves. Like, just gets up because now his fucking pride hurt because my dude Rick went up there and was like, fuck you, dude. Judge the book by its cover type shit. And I love that part of the movie. Now, later on, Rick starts having some issues. Rick starts seeing some things. Rick starts having starts seeing dead people that are actually able to almost like put hands on him. And Rick's not going to know what the fuck's going on, because the issue is Sin Eater. He eats the food off of the old man's body. Old man loses all of his sins, now have transferred over to Rick. So now Rick, all the shit that the old man has done, basically is now just like Rick has done those sins. So now you see like this dead lady shows up, like starts choking him, asking him like, why did you do this to me type shit. And so now I won't go into the whole like how it all breaks down. So, but basically Rick is getting confronted with these bodies and these dead people who he just assumes is from the old man. But then you come to find out that the old man wasn't a smart guy. The old man was a sin eater too. The old man got his riches because at some point he was a needy motherfucker that some rich dude looked down on and said, hey, if you do this, I will give you everything. So the old man was a sin eater. So the old man took whatever sins of the person he ate shit off of. And then if you just keep backing it up, if you think about it, you know, the only way to get out of the situation is to basically do what the old man did. At some point, you're going to have to die and have somebody take all that sin from you, or you're going to be tormented in hell forever. That's how it all comes out. And so she's basically, at some point, Rick realizes that, you know, he's seeing all these things and all this stuff in this, in you know, Anton's basically explaining to him how it all works. And he's realizing that, you know, I didn't just take this old man's shit. I've taken whatever sins for years and years and years of whoever else was just handing down sins. And now the only way you can get out from under it, Rick, is to do the same thing, you know? And yeah, I like that part of it. I really did. It had one thing I wish though, and I get it. It's a movie you can't spend too much time. But the one thing that bugged me with the movie is that you never get to see Rick like enjoy the wealth. You never really get to see, like, you know, you could have gave me 5 or 10 minutes of, you know, Rick, you know, day one out there, you know, when he finally gets out there with that little, after he gives that dude a fuck you at the bar with his black card sliding across the bar. That moment there, if you gave me 5 minutes of Rick just, you know, enjoying the money, enjoying it, just fucking being a billionaire, but it don't really give you that. For some reason, Rick, the whole time he's got all this, he's act like he's fucking miserable the whole time. Because you will find out that you do get tormented by these prior sins. The old man was seeing all the same shit that Rick's going to see. All these bodies, all this shit, these ghosts or whatever, these spirits that are from these old sins. The old man seen them too. And the old man was kind of like, hey, you know, it took this toll, and now he had Rick to basically step in, needy Rick, and took it. And so you will see that this thing, like Rick sees all these things and it's just getting to him and he's trying to figure a way out of it. And he doesn't want to be, you know, he doesn't want it anymore. Like there's come a point where he's just like, I don't want this, you know? And, and for me, when I'm watching, I'm going at some point when you're seeing all the shit that he's going through and you're seeing kind of like how these little spirits, whatever, kind of tormenting him and shit, you know, and I'm like, you know, here I would be, you know, if I was billionaire Jay, I would be, before I really go off the deep end and really start losing my shit the way he does, I would think that at some point I would try to, can we sit down and chit chat, spirit? Can we sit down here and have a conversation? You know, and try to maybe work out a little agreement. Can we get some middle ground, spirits? Let me be able to, we all gather around the fireplace one day, y'all come in there, yell at me, scream some shit, try to do whatever, scare me. And then like, that be our evening time ritual. And then the next day I go on and enjoy my billionaire fun. I would have tried to make a deal with the spirits. That's just me. And but yeah, there's more to it that I'm not going to get into and give away because it is a newer movie, and I want you all to go to Tubi and watch it for free. It's not going to cost you anything. It's not going to cost you nothing. Free on Tubi. And hopefully me laughing about it, making jokes, talk about it's got you to where you're like now you kind of curious. You should be curious right now where this thing's going to go, how it all works out. The movie was, it had the acting to me was, you can tell it's independent type movies, and I love those here. I love independent movies and stuff like that. And I enjoyed it. I really did enjoy this movie. And I've watched it twice. I actually watched it the first time and I took a few little notes on it. And then today I was sitting there leading up to coming on here to record. I watched it again because I was like, I wanted to watch it. And then I picked up on some things that I didn't pick up on the first time I watched it. And so I'm glad I watched it the second time because I was kind of like, oh shit, I didn't catch that the first time. And some shit kind of made more sense, But I had a fun time with this one, man. I liked it, If I got to rate it, if we're going to come out here and let you know if I'd rather fuck it, marry, kill it, I'm going to fuck this one. I'm going to fuck Curse of the Sin Eater because I had fun, man. Like this, I watched it again today, and at no point was I like kind of like bored with it, or I enjoyed it. Like I enjoyed the idea behind it. I enjoyed watching a movie like that to where you're like, you can ask yourself like, what would you do? What would Jay do if somebody come to me and said, hey man, you want to be a billionaire if you eat this shit off my chest? I don't know. What time's dinner, buddy? Is it bring my own beer type thing? Can I, but yeah, for the most part, I liked the little twist in it. I liked the story behind it. I thought it was something kind of cool, like the idea behind of, I'm gonna live a shitty life my whole life, just as shitty as I want to be. And then at the end, just pass it down to some little poor fuck that's just needing whatever, you know. I make that joke, and then at the end of the day, I'm sitting here joking about how I would be lined up to eat dinner off this fucker's hairy ass chest, and I would be that sad fuck that they're probably looking down on, being like, he'll do it, and he probably would have been right. But I liked it. I like being able to watch a movie and go, damn, what would that be like? Like, what would you do? I know some people sit back and like, oh no, I would never do that. Uh, Money talks, people. Money talks. I tell people all the time, everybody got a price at some point. You may sit there and try to say, like, oh, no, I don't. Everybody's got a price at some point. But yeah, I would have probably, I would have been, yeah, I would have showed up the way Rick did at that night. Like, yeah, I'd show up like, uh, I gotta do what again? Like, eat it off of his, like, kind of go in there and look at him. There'd be a part where you're standing next to that table, people, and you're sitting there looking at it and you're going, all I gotta do is eat the food, and then tomorrow I'm a billionaire. And yeah, because he didn't know at that time of what came with it. Because there's a point in the movie to where he basically finds out about this whole sin eater thing. and he realizes, like, what the fuck this old man did. And then he comes to find out that it wasn't just him doing it one time. This thing has happened. Like, he was a sin eater. The person before him was probably a sin eater. So now you've just packed on all these fucking sins and shit from these people for who knows how long before you, and now you got to deal with them. And it does show it. It's not like they just kind of like, peek around the corner every now and then and go like, boo, we scared you. No, there's some creepy ass fucking shit in this thing. And so it really drives him fucking nuts. But, at some point, Rick, you could have called a meeting, maybe a little meeting around the fireplace, have a little brunch with the fucking spirits. Maybe y'all gather around, have the help make you some nice little brunch. See if you could bring them all in, come to an agreement. Maybe. Never know. Could have tried, Rick. Maybe you could have come to a little middle ground with the spirits. Hey, my bad. My bad. I'm sorry. What can I do? What can we do to all get along right here, right now? But that's just me. But I did have fun with this movie. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. But I said that's why it's a fuck with me. A fuck for me. It was a fun fuck. I enjoyed it. I'll watch it again. I definitely recommend. I recommend all horror movies for everybody to go watch. And yeah, I'm definitely go check it out. Make your own opinion of it. Don't watch or not watch. Don't not watch one. But cause I may get on here and talk some shit about it. But I like to make it to where I talk about it, and I want you get done listening to this. I want it to be like, man, I kind of want to know what the fuck happens. And, and so I'm hoping that did that. I had a good time watching. I had a lot of fun talking about it. But yeah, I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. I didn't spoil it. I gave away some spoilers, but I didn't give away like how the whole ending goes. And you may have to watch it a couple times because you pick up on little things. And I like that. And you get to watch it and then ask yourself when you're watching it, would you pull up a chair to be a billionaire? All you gotta do is eat a little something off this old dude's body one time, one night. Next day, billionaire. Not a care in the world. Black card. You're buying bottles, rubbing its shit in the little punk ass faces in the bar. I would be that guy. Asshole billionaire. I know this. That's why I'm not rich. But hey, go watch this movie. Free on Tubi, people. Hope you enjoy it. Hey, I appreciate you all hanging out with me for another episode. I appreciate you all taking some time out of y'all's busy schedules and just sitting around drinking with me and letting me talk some shit. But that's going to do it for this week. Curse of the Sin Eater 2024. And like I said, once again, like I said earlier, I appreciate everybody that supports the show. I appreciate everybody who follows along on social media or, the YouTube side. I appreciate it. The fucked up Fright Flick family. I appreciate the support, and be on the lookout for the live show. It's going to happen. I know we hit our 100. Like I said, life going on right now. So we're going to make that happen. Have not forgot about it. Go check us out on all the social media sites. We're on Facebook, X, Instagram, TikTok. I'm not fancy with it. I'm basically just putting out shit that whatever we're going to talk about. And most of it's going to be horror related type stuff. But yeah, go to the YouTube, subscribe, follow along to it. And leave us reviews. We have a website, frightflickfmkpodcast.com. We're in the process of getting the store back up. It will literally be up just for like the winter months, for like some hoodies and shit like that, some stickers that will be up. I'll add that link. It may already be in the description if you're listening on the podcast, the link to the store, just hoodies and stuff. It will only be up to, probably to the end of the year. Then I'll pull it back down. But I appreciate everybody. If you want to show some support, we do have a Patreon and we do have a Buy Me a Coffee, aka Buy Me a Beer on the websites. The links are there. And yeah, that's it for the housekeeping shit. I'm not wasting time on that stuff. But I just want to say thank you all for stopping by and listening. Thank you all for hanging out, listening to me talk some shit, and having a drink with me. Everybody, one more time, grab your drinks. Gentleman Jack break. Fucking love it. Now, that's going to do it. I don't know what's coming next week, people. I don't know. Have no clue. I don't know if there'll be one for Monday or not. I'm not sure. I have no plans, nothing lined up. We're just there'll be something next week, people. I just don't know what. So be on the lookout. I'll give you a heads up through the social media shit. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this week's show of Fright Flick Fuck Marry Kill. Now, family, you all know the deal. If you're new, if this is your first time at the table with us, you know this is that part of the show, everybody. Where I need you all to reach over and grab your drinks. I need you to gather up all your shit and put your chairs away, family, and get the fuck out of here.
What's your favorite scary movie?
We have such sights to show you.
Monsters!
All you is my desire.
My name is Frankenstein!
He's got nards.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
See this? This is my boomstick.
I ate his liver with some father. Nice. This ass.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
It's alive! It's alive!
Here's Johnny. I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
There are certain rules that one must abide by in order to successfully survive a horror.
Welcome to the debauchery.